And in this king's heart were three things: a desire for fame, a desire for glory, and a desire for infinite wealth. So great were these desires that he spent year after year conquering kingdom after kingdom. Soon his treasuries were filled with gold, and his name was known throughout the land. And as he sat on his throne one day, thinking of how he could get just 10% more fame, 10% more riches, his governor came in to give him a report of the city. "My lord, I am pleased to present that everything in this capital city is glorious, except for one thing, and I won't fail to mention it." Tell me what it is." I failed to mention it, sir, as to upset you, but the temple to Shiva, it is in great disrepair and seems so out of place with the glorious buildings that have been erected in your name. Then I will build a temple to Shiva. So great will it be that it will be known throughout the world. It will be so glorious that Shiva himself will come. Summon the royal architects. So the architects began the great work. Soon they laid out the plans, and the quarrymen cut the stones, and the sculptors began to work. The masons they brought everything together. The sculptors sculpted beautiful sculptures. Day after day, the work continued. And in the hot sun, way in the back, could be seen an old woman going from worker to worker, offering them a cup of milk. For you see, when she heard about the plans to build a temple to her beloved Lord Shiva, she needed something to do. For she was old, and her only companion was an old milk cow. "I'm too old to do much of anything. I cannot cut stones. I cannot paint very high. I cannot sculpt with my gnarled hands. What can I do? My dear friend, my cow, perhaps we can be of some help." So she brought her stool, and she sang a song to her beloved Shiva, and she began to milk. As she milked, her devotion went deeper and deeper until she was wrapped in bliss. And she was in so much joy that as she picked up the pail to carry it to the worksite, she barely noticed how heavy it was. And there, as she served her milk, she saw not the dirty, sweaty body, but instead the form of her beloved Shiva in each of the workers. And there, she offered them the milk and served her Lord. And as she went from worker to worker, she dived deeper in her devotion. And she returned home wrapped in bliss. And there she saw her cow looking at her in a meaningful way. "Cow, do you have more milk to give?" So she got back to work, filling her pail and returning again to the worksite, there offering her devotion as service. And she returned home again. She looked at the cow cow looked at her, and so it continued day after day until the temple was completed. It was a glorious day as the procession went down the street. The king himself led, followed by the architects, the quarrymen, the stonemasons, even the plumbers, the sculptors, and there the monks began their chant to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. As they entered, they took their places, and all of a sudden, there was a great flash of light and a burst of wind. And there stood Lord Shiva himself. Everyone fell down until the booming voice of Shiva sounded. Bring me the one who has built this temple. This was the king's big moment. Lord Shiva, it is I who built this temple for you. Bring me the one who has built this temple. The king was aghast. Wasn't it he who did it? Well, maybe he means more, thought-wise? Could it be the architects? Some of the royal architects! Quick! Lord Shiva, I give to you the royal architects. They are the ones who built this temple. Bring me the one who has built this temple. Let's see. Literally. Quarrymen! Come. Masons, come. These are the ones who built this temple. And so it continued. Shiva's only answer was, bring me the one who has built this temple. The sun was well past its zenith as the king went through worker after worker, summoning each one up. And still the same response from Shiva. Bring me the one who has built this temple. And then finally, he had run out of men. But back, way in the back, he saw an old lady wrapped in bliss. Old woman, come forward. Lord Shiva, may I introduce this woman who, what did you do? I offered loot to the workers. And then Shiva was silent. He reached out a hand, and with just a simple gesture, drew the old devotee up into the air. And it was there that they danced. As they came down lightly to the ground again, Shiva spoke. As you served each of the workers, it was your devotion that infused every stone, that infused every sculpture. It is your love, your devotion, which has built this place and summoned me here. For how can I remain far away from a devotee such as yourself? blessings upon your child. May I have the great honor of retelling this when she is